jingly down there.
Santa.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's 5 PM. It is time to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. And it's December the 4th, 2023. Ms. Rhodes, roll call, please.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Gross? Mayor Barnett?
Present.
Tina's coming tonight, isn't she?
Thank you, ma'am. Please stand for the pledge.
Tina's coming.
Always tell you all straight. Oh my God, I just laid it or something.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am glad you're here to the meeting, this big crowd we have. It looks like everybody's the same people as always, so thank you, Les. Appreciate it. They were doing study buddies, so. Okay, is there any announcements or public comments that does not pertain to the agenda? Seeing none, hearing none, we will go on to consent agenda.
I see Tina walking in the door.
Move to approve the minutes for November 20th meeting, the Board of Works, and also the approval of claims.
Okay, we have a motion. I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there isn't any old business. We'll go right into new business. Hi, Tina. Let the record show, Tina is here. And it's only 5:02. That's not too bad.
It's that traffic in Franklin, isn't it?
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. All right, we're at item number 1 under new business, Christie's auction agreement and items to be auctioned. Police Chief Kirby Cochran.
Shall I help? Okay, Mayor, you may recall, and I received some questions this morning from Member Gross about what this is about. I think the general public would be astounded at the kinds of things that end up in our police department that people leave. Anytime there's something left on the side of the road, they seem to want to drop it off at the police department. If people are in jail and they check out and they leave their stuff there, the jail sends it over to the police department. We have things sometimes that we've had abandoned there. Bicycles, I remember, was a big thing. People would find bicycles. Anyway, we keep them all because we have to do that. And there's a statute in place, so we're not the only governmental entity that this happens to. There's a statute in place, and it's specifically Indiana Code 522-22-4, that once we've had it and it's been left in our care and custody for an unclaimed for over 1 year, or if it is our property and we no longer need it, we are authorized by law to hire an auctioneer and sell it at auction. We do this every couple of years. Christie's does it for Greenwood. I think Christie's does it for most of the entities, Johnson County Sheriff's Department, and they have an auction. They then publish that they're going to have an auction. All these items are then listed in the auction. The cost for the auction are taken out of the net proceeds, and then we receive the rest of the money. We make every attempt to identify who the proper owners are. If they are, if we are able to, we reach out to them. We send them a notice by certified mail if they don't respond to it after that year. So they didn't get on this list until it's been well over a year. Most of the time, however, it will be something that we simply can't identify, that there isn't any title or there isn't registration. So that's what this is. This is a matter of housekeeping. We would like to clean up some of our rooms out in the evidence room and get rid of some of these items, and others are items that are simply in our, I think we had some weight equipment that was no longer usable and those kind of things we'd like to get rid of and auction it. So that's what this request is. Hire Christie to do it.
Chief, I'm just curious, is this just 1 year or is this over several
No,
years?
Yeah.
these are,
Yeah.
these 154 items, but keep in mind, there's an entire room full of items just like this. These are just items that are case closed.
How many years does it go back? I guess that's what the question is.
Well, go ahead, Lynn.
I don't, we had, Chief, what's been 2 or 3 years since we had the last auction?
Right.
We've had one.
Well, we haven't had one since I've been chief
Okay.
at the PD.
Okay, well, then, we had one.
We have had one.
We've had one before. Has it been that long ago?
Yep.
Okay. And so we collect them. Now, these are basically unclaimed or what we call abandoned property. There is a whole nother, and you will be seeing SOPs related to this, because the police department has been working very hard on creating them. There's a whole nother area of property that is evidence in cases that after a period of time, it's then authorized to be disposed of. And so we have to do that in a different manner. For instance, guns, you have to, evidence in criminal investigations, evidence in prosecutions. That's a whole nother series of statutes. This is for what they call abandoned and/or unclaimed property. That is not money. If it's money, it goes to the Attorney General's office, and you see those unclaimed things that they take care of. So this is just stuff, we get people call and say, I've got a bicycle here that was left in my front yard, what am I going to do with it? There's a fender that gets in the middle of after an accident, somebody's fender is in the middle of the median, and they drop it off at the police department. I mean, you would be amazed at the things that come our way.
Well, what I can tell you is the room is nearly full,
Right.
top to bottom, and
So will you
We'll have to do
have more, will you have more this year, or is it gonna be,
they're currently working on it now, and that's what we did with Caden Carter. We brought him on in
Okay.
early, and so he's helping with that right now.
But in order for us to sell it legally, we have to keep it for at least 1 year.
Okay.
For it then to be abandoned under the statute. So all of these are long past that 1 year.
Okay.
timeframe.
Chief, do you
Sounds
mind me asking when this is going to happen? When the auction is going to
As
happen?
soon as we can get it approved, they've worked on these items, this is an item that's already submitted for approval.
Right.
So this needs to be tagged and sent to Christie's.
Okay, so that'll be done in some other time, then they'll schedule it. and-
Right.
Then they advertise it. They're used to doing this. Christie's advertises it in the newspaper, conducts the sale, takes the proceeds, pays for the sale, pays for the ads, and then we get the net that's after it. And it's usually very little. But the value to us is clearing up space.
okay?
So does the net proceeds become unrestricted that can be used for something within?
I believe it
police
goes back to the
department?
general fund. It goes
Does
back to
it?
the general fund.
Okay.
And it can be appropriated, but it goes back to the general fund.
Okay.
I need a hammer drill.
Anybody can go to the auction and bid on them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I need a hammer drill badly. Looks like there's a few of them on there.
I've got my eye on the curling iron, so.
Wow.
With the wedding
Well,
ring.
good luck with that one.
So I will move to approve Christie's auction agreement and the items listed to be auctioned.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, request approval to place artist banner designs on Jefferson Street for 2024 Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, good evening. The Public Art Advisory Commission is continuing the banner program that we started about 2 years ago. We have solicited items and solicited drawings from different artists around the city. We have come with the final designs that you will see here. There are 3 artists. Between all of them, there's going to be a total of 34 banners. These banners will run from Jefferson Street, from Walnut Street, all the way down to Brannigan, so it will cover that entire area. There are, as I said, there are 3 artists. This first one is Gabriel Yaden, who is a local Franklin resident. He is nationally known, has had some of his work displayed in some very large galleries throughout the country. Yeah, those are some of his. The next one, these are Marianne Cataldi's. She actually works for the library right here. She's also a resident of Franklin. These will run, as you see, from Water Street to about Crowell Street. She has some really pretty vibrant colors and fun things there. And then the last one is Kelly Park, who is a teacher at the high school. Hers have more of the farm girl fun look kind of thing, and those will be down on that side of the city with some of the farm girls, some of the salvage sisters, some of those different kinds of things. So as you see, those are the ones that will be running. So these will be put up, if you approve them tonight, will be put up next year. So there will be new ones. They will be replacing where we currently have the bicentennial banners this year. The other banners that we've had in the past will go up again. The welcome banners will be up on King Street and will also be up on South Main Street. They're going to be able to be reused, and we will have one more year of East and West Court Street, North Main and South Main with these banners, and this will be the third year for them. So we may consider in 2025 getting new banners for those. So tonight I'm just requesting approval of these designs. As you know, we do have a banner policy, so the only banners that do go up are from the city, and they are city's messages. So these are city banners.
Dana, I just have a comment. Has anybody told you some banners have blown down? I have seen some banners blown down. I didn't notice they'd been put back up or not. Just, one of them was over here on East Court and Jefferson Street, so.
That's weird. I think they were taking them all down. There shouldn't even be, I think all the banners should be down by now for the winter, except for the ones on King Street. Those are staying up through the end of December.
Okay,
We'll
I
have
just
to
saw
check
one on
into
the
that.
ground the other day. That's, maybe it got dropped or something, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, maybe it did. We'll check into that.
Okay,
I'll move to approve the artist banner designs as presented by Ms. Monson.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dana.
Great, thank you.
Okay, next item, request acceptance of temporary and permanent sanitary sewer easement, Decker for Phase 2 of West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor, City Engineer Mark Richards.
Thank you, Mayor. Have two more easements, a permanent and a temporary easement for construction. These are at 2387 East to 80 South. They're fairly straightforward easements, and I'd like to request acceptance of those.
I'll move to approve acceptance of the temporary and permanent sanitary sewer easements for Phase 2 of the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item, acceptance of bids and award a contract to firm submitting lowest responsive and responsible bid for the Paul Hand Boulevard and Graham Road Roundabout and Earlywood Drive and Graham Road Roundabout. City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Bids were opened last Thursday for this project. The bids were requested for both projects combined. There were 7 bids that were received in a timely manner. The engineer's estimate was $3,532,774.60. There were 4 bids that were submitted that were below the estimate and 3 above. The low bid was Dave O'Mara Contractor, Inc., in the amount of $2,939,700. Next bid was from Milestone Contractors, LP, in the amount of $3,121,769. Next bid was Calumet Civil Contractors, Inc., in the amount of $3,248,000. And the final bid that was below the estimate was from Morphe Construction, Inc., in the amount of $3,311,000. The bids that were above the estimate were Olco, OLCO, Inc., in the amount of $3,623,474. White Construction, LLC, submitted a bid of $3,682,000. And finally, Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc., submitted a bid of $3,772,558.87. We did receive a recommendation to award a contract to Dave O'Mara Contractor, Inc. as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. I would ask that the board award the contract subject to funding by the Redevelopment Commission, which will not occur until their January meeting. So we've got some time to award this. We don't have to award it right now. But I would just ask that you award it subject to that funding, and that you authorize me to send the notice of conditional award to Dave O'Meara.
Mark, did you check and make sure they met all our criteria?
Yes.
They gave us all of our requirements and
They
things?
did.
I didn't see it.
Yes. Oh, okay, I apologize. Those bids were open when I was out, so I will forward those to you, or the Dave O'Meara bid to you, and that way you can,
Make sure it meets all of our requirements?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah.
So before Tina makes the motion, I seen her writing notes. I just want to make everybody aware, for the record again, it's right at 2.9, and I'm just going off memory here. 2.9, and with the county doing the 650 that we've all agreed to, and everybody signed, Whiteland, the 750, everybody signed. And for Earlywood, we got a $213,000 grant. So we have about $1.6 million of the 2.9 accounted for, and the city's going to be, it looks like, their portion will be about 1.65 in the end, so.
and Mayor, the cost, we do have those broken out for construction between the two roundabouts. The Graham Road Paul Hand roundabout is $1,497,507.67. And the Graham Road Earlywood Drive roundabout is $1,442,192.34. But as I said, those were bid together, so the contract will be awarded for the total of the two together.
Right, okay. I was just making aware for the record, the 2.9, I just want everybody to be aware that the city is not, we got partners in this, so I'm pretty proud of the partnership and the grant that Dana worked hard on getting, so thank you for that, Dana. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, Tina.
Okay. Mark, for clarification before I start, we also need to authorize you to send
The conditional notice of award.
conditional. Okay. All right,
And what's conditional is subject to approval of the financing.
Correct.
okay. So I will make a motion to accept the bids and award of contract to Dave O'Meara Contractor Incorporated, who was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for the Paul Hand Boulevard and Graham Road RAB, and Earlywood Drive and Graham Road RAB. Roundabout, got it. This is conditional, subject to funding by the RDC, and the board also authorizes Mark to send a conditional notice of award to Dave O'Meara.
That's
That's
just
good.
That's just the way I would have said it.
Second.
That's perfect.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is request to file liens on unkept.
No, we missed the
Oh,
approval resolution 20.
I did.
Yeah.
I marked it early. Okay, approval of Resolution 23-11, authorizing agreement for services with PMR Healthcare. City Attorney Lynn Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll do the introduction, and then obviously you can chime in, as well as Mr. Austin, who attended meetings. As you'll recall, it's been a couple of meetings ago, PMR came in and made a presentation to both the Board of Works and to the City Council regarding the clinic that they are willing to operate at JMH. It's not JMH's clinic, but it's PMR that runs the clinic, primarily targeting employers who wish to have their employees to have available to them medical services, as opposed to going out to different providers such as emergency cares, emergency rooms, and things of that nature. Frankly, it's a cost-saving approach to offer to employers because, as you know, healthcare costs are ever increasing. And so they made the presentation here because they are operating that clinic at JMH. After that initial presentation, there was a general informational meeting that the mayor attended, Mr. Austin attended on behalf of the council, and we also had John Ald, who is our health insurance, or insurance agent, but he also helps with monitoring our health insurance. Essentially, to break it down into ease of terms, the city provides health insurance to its employees, and I think it's not hyperbole to say that it's the Cadillac of all plans when it relates to insurance here in this vicinity. It's a very, 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 very good plan. And how we do that is we are self-funded for, I believe, is it 4.5 million, Jane, roughly? Which means that in our budget every year, we set aside 4.5 million to pay claims for our employees as they come in. We also pay for an insurance policy that covers claims that are catastrophic beyond that, and that is several hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's a pretty good chunk of change that the city has to pay every year. And it's going up, as you might expect. Those costs and expenses are going up. And so there's really only two ways. It's not sustainable for the next, it's just not sustainable. You can't continue to do that, particularly as you add new employees and particularly as healthcare costs arise. And so one of the questions that was presented is, all right, what do we do? And one of the things is, of course, you can pass all that cost on to your employees, which administration did not want to do at this point without giving them another alternative. And what we approached at this point, is there a way that we can reduce the underlying cost, because it's quite expensive for an employee to go to the emergency room and get a charge. It's quite expensive for them to go to a lot of other carriers because we don't have a collective agreement with them as to what the cost of the service will be. So the idea behind PMR is to have that clinic available. The employees will continue to have their options that they can go to any healthcare provider they wish. They absolutely can. But if we can get the employees to go to the clinic for routine things such as physicals for your children, when you need poison ivy medication, if you need to go get a cold medicine, you know, any kinds of those kinds of things. Plus, the idea also is that many employees, not necessarily ours, but across the board, don't have general physicians. They don't have primary care physicians. And if you can get people to have a relationship with a primary care physician or with a facility, oftentimes you can detect medical problems before they become big medical problems, and that costs us a lot more. So, putting all of that in its perspective, all our claims were analyzed and evaluated and shared with Mr. Ald as well as a committee. And it was his belief, as well as the committee's belief, that having this available, if our employees will utilize it, will save us money in the long run. Because what we might be getting charged at an emergency care or an urgent care place for $100, we may be able to get here for $20. And it's going to take a little bit of time, at least 18 months, to be able to figure out if we're able to save that kind of money. And that's the idea about having this. A question was asked of how will this change for the employees? Not. I mean, we're paying this money anyway. So we're either paying it through the claims, through the individual claims that come in from the various providers around, or we'll just be paying this monthly. The idea is hopefully we can educate the employees to hopefully get them to utilize this. But they continue to have the ability to use their own primary physicians and those kinds of things. But if we can't figure out some way to try to reduce costs, I don't know how we can sustain the Cadillac of all plans in the future. So that was basically it. They sent us the PMR sent us a copy of an agreement on what it would cost. It's about $31,000 a month, which, believe it or not, paying that, if we can get our employees, will save us money. That tells you how much money we pay every month in employee claims. Sometimes it's a six-figure number a month of what we pay. So we pay it regardless of whether our employees use it. So there's going to be a challenge to get the employees to buy in, and hopefully they will understand.
So I want to add to that, if you don't mind. So we did have the meeting that Lynn talked about with our wellness employees. There's people that's on the wellness committee that's employees that we had the meeting, talked about it. The big thing is we got to get across, all the department heads right here, your people have got to take advantage, because what's going to happen if the costs don't go down because they're not taking advantage, then it's going to come out of their pocket. I mean, we have no choice. And Ken, you're on the city council. I know this is not a council meeting, but I think the city council is on board with, we're trying to do this and trying to have a good health plan for our people, which we have the best, but we got to figure out how to save some money, or we're not going to have it like this forever. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes your people need to use it, and we got 18 months to see the results. So we'll go from there.
And Mayor, I think the collective opinion of folks was, before we start going to the employees and saying your healthcare costs are going to increase, we want to give them an alternative so that they can have some control into it. So that was the idea. A question was asked, how does this change for the employees? In terms of cost, it doesn't. They still have the same plan. They just go out there, they see their physician. Krista takes her boys out there to get their physical. It's no charge. It's part of what we've paid. So they could potentially save a little money on co-pays and things of that
That's
nature.
what I was going to ask.
The
So
employees could save money.
is there incentive for them to go to the clinic instead of their primary
Yeah.
care physician?
And the other incentive is probably, well, not only location, but availability.
Yeah.
Because we have this agreement with them. Somebody comes to work in the morning, man, I've got this allergies kicked up, or you can call, go out there, and then come back, rather than have to schedule a day off and make an appointment with a doctor that may be 2 weeks out, if you can find a primary care physician. And that's the reason that statistics tell many people don't have a primary care physician, because there's no availability and scheduling it and getting it. And then, so what they end up doing is they end up going to the emergency cares, to the hospitals, and to things like, which are not very cost effective for many of the routine types of things that you need. So what's before you is not asking you to sign the agreement, but asking you to pass a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign, because it's obviously going to have to be funded by the council as well. And so there's a similar type of resolution before the council, on the council's agenda for tonight, because PMR would like to begin having the clinic available after the first of the year. The important thing is that there's a general availability during the week. They have indicated to us that they are willing to adjust the hours if there are, based on times that maybe if they see employees come more often Mondays, but Tuesday after school, or, they're willing to adjust it. But essentially, it'll be a clinic available 40 hours a week, generally during the business week, for our employees to go to and come back to. There is a provision that they may increase the costs with notice to us. There was a lot of negotiation. There was a lot of pushback I had on many of these things. Originally, they said a 3-year agreement, and that they could routinely raise the costs. That obviously was a non-starter. I put a provision in there if they raise the cost more than 10% normal, because the prescriptions are also fixed. The amount for the prescriptions are fixed. Those prescriptions costs go up routinely. They don't control that. But if it did go up a lot, we could get out of the agreement. They were willing to do that. They want to keep the cost of the prescriptions. Generally speaking, if you have an agreement with a provider for a fixed amount for a service, an X-ray is this, MRI is that, you generally get the benefit of a write-down agreed-upon amount that you don't have if you don't have a collective agreement with all the healthcare providers out there. That's how the concept works. So if we have an agreement, you're going to charge us the same amount for every X-ray, but when you have people going to various providers that you don't have a contract with, they charge you whatever they can charge you. Yeah, so that's the concept. It's a difficult challenge for all entities right now, it's healthcare, any employer, it's hard. Happy to answer any questions.
I think, doesn't the school have?
We do. We have a similar agreement.
And it's at the care center, right? Yeah.
Yes, it's true. We have a South Central School Trust that administers our health care benefits. And so we have a negotiated contract with JMH for the same type services.
Yeah.
It's very convenient.
Have you seen, is it convenient? I think that's the benefit to the employees. Plus, if we save money, they save money. at the
Yes.
long run. But have you seen a savings?
I'm not sure of that. I don't have a lot to do with the trust.
Okay.
So,
Because anecdotally, I think John says it's probably going to take us a year to 18 months to see whether or not we see, or how we quantify it. Now, as you recall, in the presentation that was made to us, they said they would save us money because they looked at all of our claims, and then they looked at their charges on what they would do with the same claims. They made that presentation. I can't tell you that for sure because I don't know who's going to use it.
right.
And so you don't know that, but if it is used and you're comparing apples to apples, we will save money.
I think the key also is that, you mentioned it, Lynn, education. But first and foremost, we have a very high percentage of employees that work for the city that doesn't even have a primary care physician. So if that doesn't change, we may not see the savings, if that doesn't change. But I think this is the first steps of,
Well, and to your point in the meeting, if we can get an employee out there for a routine physical that finds out he's pre-diabetic, he or she is pre-diabetic, and it saves us from a heart attack later on,
absolutely.
it's the hard, cold facts of it, saves us money. And it's better for our employees.
And, Steve alluded as well, and so did you, about, we've done a lot to try to bring our employee salaries up without having to take that away because of the rising healthcare costs. And I think this is just an example of what, the mayor and his team is trying to do and what we're trying to do to avoid that. And this being the first step, and at no cost to the employees whatsoever. So, and the
one-
convenience.
Yeah, and the one question I did get from employees through the clerk treasurer's office is, does this mean I can't use my doctors? They are still permitted to use their doctors. There is no restriction that they have to go there. It's just gonna, if we don't use this clinic, something's gonna have to change in the future.
Yeah.
It might be helpful too to have a couple of talking points, like, if you went to the ER for an earache, it would cost this much.
Yeah.
If you go to the immediate care center, it'll cost this much.
Yeah.
Heard me say that. didn't
Yeah,
you?
and one of the provisions that we asked to be inserted, and they didn't have any hesitancy in inserting it, because I remember somebody in one of the meetings saying just that, is a provision that they would do the educational piece to our employees. Here's our hours, here's what we have available to you, this is why our services, and that's part of the agreement
Okay.
that they were happy to insert in there. And I think Tara had probably worked with them about how can we get that out to the department heads and to the employees.
I would just like to note too, with this service, it's more of a personalized, doctor's visit. So your first, checkup or physical is 90 minutes. Then your follow-up is 60 minutes. So they do all your blood work, your labs, like, they want a solid
Baseline.
baseline when you go in there. So I know that I've been going to the same doctor since I was like this big. He's retired, it was Dr. Pulse, but I'm still at that office, and I do not get the care that I used to get. It's just in and out, nobody really cares about you, and this facility wants to change that. They want to know that they care about the employees, they want to listen to them, so it's kind of, I felt like that was a big selling point for me.
I will tell you, in having negotiations with PMR, and of course, I'm not on the plan, so this is just, I was given direction from the council comments and the Board of Work comments, and then certainly from the mayor. At every point where I said, well, we can't do that, they said, tell us how we can help. So, for instance, the 3-year commitment, I said, how do we know that we're paying $31,000 a month. What, if nobody's going, you're locking us in for 3 years. They said, well, tell us what you need to have. John Ald said it's going to take us 18 months to see whether it's, and I said, then how about 2 years? They said, okay. So there's enough of an incentive for them as well, because I think they want to establish a long-term relationship. There was very little that I pushed back on that they didn't agree on.
With 38% of our employees do not have a primary care physician. So those people go to immediate care. That is super expensive.
Right.
So this is a great alternative, and, we've talked about incentivizing our employees, to go and get that initial physical, because that's the first hurdle, is just getting somebody in the door. Once they get in the door and they're seen by a physician, they feel comfortable to go back. So,
Built into this contract, the agreement is for up to 580 people attending. That's more employees than we have. But obviously, you'll see it's not 580 employees, it's 580 covered individuals. That's still more than what we have right now on our plan. I had tried to get 600, and they said, we just really can't make that math work. But they had originally proposed 560, so we met in the middle. I hope we run up against that problem, because that would be great if we've got 600 people going. Right now, we left ourselves some room to grow in the next couple of years. But we hired some new police officers and new fire folks that have children and things, so.
So I will say that I was one of those people that don't have a family physician anymore, because my physician also retired, and I was the one that had the earache that went to the immediate care center that cost double. Yeah, and I
I
didn't
didn't
realize.
know that. I swear, I did not know that.
I think that's a HIPAA violation right there, Steve. Oh, it's your own medical, okay, you can do that, all right.
But that's what really opened up my eyes. I didn't realize that it costs. I'm just like everybody else. I need to go to the doctor or go somewhere. I went. We got insurance, and then you find out you can do it a better way. So I was that one. That's why I said, you talking about me.
I think one of our
Wow.
councils.
Yes, sir.
A couple things. One, you mentioned savings for the city a couple different times. I'm assuming they gave you a number of what the savings is projected to be.
Can I answer that one?
Sure.
So they said $400,000. Talking with John, because John, we gave John all the information that they had. And what John said, for full transparency, he said anywhere from 100 to 200,000. He can't pin it down, but he said a savings is a savings, and we can start working on it. So that's why he put his blessings on it. John thinks that 1 to 200, and they're saying 400, so.
Yeah, I
me
do
too.
too. And of course, it depends on usage, but we asked him to, all right, pare it down, be really, they weren't present when we were having the conversation. And he said, but there will because it was a point blank question. I think, Jane, you and I both asked, do you recommend us doing this to save money? He said, yes, unequivocally. And I told him I was going to share that in a public meeting.
It would already be in the system.
The other question I had about getting the baseline, and people who have doctors already have their records transferred to them.
Yes, yes.
And you coming on the city council January 1, you don't get the insurance. Just thought I'd let you know.
Neither does the attorney.
Todd, thank you for asking that question, because that was going to be my question. My guys get a physical every year. Can they take that physical over there and start using that physical as their baseline?
I think they're two different physicals. Go ahead, Jane, if you have an answer for that.
Plus, well, do they still get theirs through public safety medical, or do you get it?
This last year, we did it through JMH.
They
We were,
would just have to, much like we did before, when we were doing it through public safety medical, they would have to get a release form from Johnson Memorial, and I did speak to Eileen about that. So where then PMR could,
I would like to, if I could get a contact information, I'd like to see if they could set up to do our yearly physicals. And then, boom, two birds with one stone.
Well, but there's going to be an additional charge, would really be, because this was not one of the contemplated services there. Although, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, there were some other services that sometimes we use that we could send our employees out there for, like, for instance, just as a practical matter, anytime any of our employees are involved in any kind of, somebody hits the trash truck or accident, and we always, to protect our employees, send them out to the hospital, have them take a breathalyzer, have them be checked out for our employees' protection. And so those kinds of services will be much cheaper than they are right now.
As long as they're open
Pardon me?
during business hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Okay,
You
we
need to
ready?
We need a recommendation, is that right?
Yeah, you'll note that the resolution that I prepared, PMR did not prepare this, I prepared the resolution, simply authorizes the mayor to sign the agreement for services if the council also recommends, since they're funding it, for signing it. And then you, mayor, would then sign the agreement if both bodies. But I felt we needed something in the form of a resolution from both the Board of Works, since the Board of Works' obligation is to administer employee benefits, and the council's obligation is to pay for them, that we probably need a resolution from both entities approving the concept and approving the agreement.
I'll move to approve Resolution 23-11, authorizing the agreement for services with PMR Healthcare, and also, subsequent to approval by the city council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item, under other business, I will make a motion to approve the request for the unkept property liens.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Get to department reports, and before we get calling on each and every one, I want you to remember, we got encumbrances coming up that, in the next week or so, that we need to make sure we get that taken care of so it doesn't mess up our next year's budget. And then also, I think all of you know, at the end of the year, there's a report that you give me with the things that I used in the State of the City address. So anytime you get ready for that, I can take it, so appreciate that as well. Okay, we'll start down there with Chip.
The ice skating is going really well. If you haven't had a chance to go down and ice skate yet, you should do that. I believe the last day is this coming Saturday, the 9th. So get down there while you can. I have not tried it, so I don't really know if it works or not. So we've been working the last couple of months on a new software program that we're going to be using in the Parks Department that will allow people to register for programs online. You can buy a membership online, and you can also reserve a facility online, which is completely new for us. We've never done that before. That program starts January 1, so you can do that from the convenience of your house now. You don't even have to come see us. You pick up your membership card at the front desk the first time you come and pay online. So that should be a pretty significant change for us, but we're ready for it. Thanks, Rick, for spending the last couple of months with us, getting all that ready. And then I thought the holiday lighting was awesome, so everybody did a great job, so thanks.
Hey, Chip, does the online feature have the ability for whoever's renting something to provide the insurance that's required of them?
It
So they can
does.
download that and send it back to us before?
Yeah, because there can be several applications with that will be required. Like for that would be an example. Another example would be to get a dog park membership, you have to upload your shot records for your pet, for example. So it has the ability to do all that, which is really nice. So,
Okay, so there'll be a check to make sure that they don't get the authorization without giving us that?
Yep.
Thank you,
it's all automatic too, which is really nice. So.
great.
Okay, thank you, Chip. Chief Cochran?
The only thing I want to do is just give a huge thanks and kudos to my guys upstairs in Investigations Division. On this last predators thing, is another 21 predators arrested. So I mentioned it earlier in department head meeting. It's literally, it's disgusting, but you literally got to shut these things down. I mean, you can talk day in and day out to these guys. And there's a lot of work that goes into that leading up to those 3 days. And super disheartening that's in our community. But most of these folks are ironically coming from the outside Indianapolis. We had one guy from, I don't know, West Virginia or somewhere. So they're traveling from all over the place. And as I'd said to somebody that called wanting to do an interview, we really didn't want to do an interview on it. But, it's all walks of life. So it's not just anybody. I mean, we got firefighters on there. There's police officers been arrested before, teachers. I think, Terry, you said there was a soccer coach, stuff like that. So it's never ending, but kudos to my guys. I mean, these things are difficult to do mentally, and they're challenging for manpower as well. But they do a great job. And, again, the partnership that we have with the other agencies is bar none, it just doesn't happen a lot of places, so I'm appreciative as the chief for those things, so kudos to them.
Thank
That's all
you,
I
Chief.
got.
Josh Snyder?
Yes, yes, sir. The remodel's going good. We just finished up our second state certified class for the year, for the guys at the station that wanted to improve their ability to serve the city. First time in about 15 years, we've had state certified classes be put on by our department, so it's very exciting. We got some more lined up for the first of the year. I want to give out, shout out to the street department, Rick and Kirby. Brett, your guys helped me out a lot on being able to store some stuff, a couple fire trucks. Rick, all your help with my IT stuff on getting out from the station, and then Kirby's let us store quite a bit of stuff up there at the PD, so just real appreciative, made my job with moving stuff out of there a lot easier.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You don't know how many miles are on those fire trucks, do you?
Yes, we do have
Get
it
some
in
good usage
report.
out of those.
We do have it in a report, so.
Okay.
Pick me up, Rick.
No, no,
Absolutely.
no, you guys cannot go driving those things around, no.
I've got a hat.
Yeah, I know. I know.
How about you, Rick? Can't top that?
No, can't top that.
Krista?
Just a reminder, we have a FDC, Franklin Development Corporation. We have a board meeting Wednesday at 9. And then the redevelopment commission meeting has been moved to this coming Tuesday, the 12th. So that's not our regular monthly meeting date. We moved it up for the holidays, so.
And that's, you moved that a couple months ago, didn't you?
We moved it in November as well. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And EDC is canceled for December, so we're taking EDC spot.
Okay.
All the DCs.
Brett?
I mentioned it in department head, but just wanted to publicly thank Stephanie Shepard, the office manager at street department. Back in the April tornado, she's done a great job of dealing with FEMA and has submitted all of our records, and we were awarded just shy of $80,000 in reimbursement from FEMA. So appreciate her taking that on. To be honest, I was not really convinced it was the best usage of time, but I was proven wrong. So I appreciate her diligent work on that, and happy to, like I said, report that the city's going to get just shy of $80,000 back for our efforts during that. So
Brett, I thought of a question after the meeting today.
Yeah.
Was that for our time, or was that for the parapet wall?
it's a little bit of everything. There's time, there's equipment used. I sent you a breakdown.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there was some tree removal stuff that we paid for that we were reimbursed for, so it's a full package of things that we executed after that event, so.
Okay, thank you.
Because I think parks
Yeah, it's us, DPW, fire,
and fire.
yeah, all will be getting money back or reimbursement for services and or equipment used during that cleanup of that event, so.
Okay, thank you, good job.
Yep, thanks.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Mark?
The Graham Road Extension project's going pretty well. Milestone will be installing the large box culvert toward the south end of the project tomorrow and Wednesday. They'll be backfilling Thursday and Friday, then they're shutting down for the year. They have paving done, base layer and intermediate layer of asphalt from the box culvert up north to Earlywood Drive. So they'll have the connection points and then the work just south of the box culvert left to finish up in the spring. The Earlywood Sanitary Sewer Extension project has hit a couple of slight snags. They should have Graham Road open back up. They're shooting for the end of the day tomorrow. It was supposed to be opened up end of the day Friday last week, but some utility issues and weather issues have slowed that down a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sally?
No, I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay, Tara, do you have anything tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to just publicly thank like all of the businesses and engineering firms, construction firms, everybody that we work with for donating to this city's Christmas party. We had 148 RSVPs for that Christmas party, so that's gonna be our largest attendance, and everybody will get to leave with a gift, and that's the first time that's ever happened. So, I'm very
Well, and I believe you and Missy have worked pretty hard on this
Yeah,
as
we are
well,
very-
so.
Like, we are very geeked out about it. Like, it's our favorite thing all year. Yeah.
So good job. Jane?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Austin?
Great turnout this weekend. Thousands of people downtown and families and kids having a blast. So I'm glad it, everything went off without a hitch. So it's nice to see everybody downtown.
Nothing, sir.
How many meetings, Jane?
Will you say something at your last one?
Thank you.
I was gonna say, you may be careful, she might say whatever she wants.
I'll probably turn off the live stream, okay?
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Okay, and I don't have anything to add, but just thank everyone for being part of the A-team, which I believe our A-team people up here have A-team players working for them. So we have a great city with great employees. So thank you all, and I will make a motion to